French bank just made a provision of $1.1 billion against a legal dispute against the U.S. government, that actually probing French bank BNP Paribas, SocGen, and Crédit Agricole, the three largest French banks, of doing money laundering and also of not respecting international rules and making business with Iran while you've got sanction and embargo.
So basically, money and politics doesn't go together.
It doesn't go together, and the French bank have been doing business with Iran, buying and selling, like oil and gas, which is forbidden by U.S. international sanction. And this is, a very, very heavy study, on the French bank. Usually, maybe in 2012, a UK bank, Standard & Chartered, also had a big fine. But this time, BNP Paribas is said to be $1.1 billion, which is very big.
How can you actually bypass the politics? How can you actually do whatever you want?
It's actually French banks compared to US banks that were more into the advisory business, doing merger and acquisition or IPOs. French banks traditionally are doing financing. And one specialty of French financing is doing financing of commodity and financing of oil and gas. So they're setting up offshore company. They're not doing business directly with Iran, but with affiliates of Iran. And so they're using places like Switzerland, Cayman Island, and offshore places to make business.
So, Lionel, let me ask just how bad the U.S. regulators can hit those banks?
They're going to hit hard because you've got the U.S. Treasury, you've got the State Department, you've got the Financial Regulatory, Board of Finance Company in New York, and you have what is called the Office of Asset Control, which is kind of the cops, the police of the State Department, hitting bad on French banks.
So we're seeing, can we say in a certain way that we are seeing some kind of sanctions on French banks?
It is going to happen now, and BNP Paribas, they're smart. They're already negotiating with the U.S. government a private settlement, but it's going to be, they will have to pay at least $1 billion, which is huge.
But according to the new agreement, let's say, this is fair and square. They're easing sanctions on Iran, which is okay. So what's wrong?
No, the trade was actually done before. It was starting to be done in 2009 until, when there were the full embargo on Iran. And you see that no U.S. bank or other British banks are doing business on Iran. Only the French banks, because they wanted to make money and they didn't willing, to cut the pie.
It's like water and oil. Lionel, Friedfeld, thank you very much for this.
Thank you very much.
Heading towards a crucial week in the